on this special episode of No Win Scenario with Trevor and Don.
You're a genius. You Star Trek nerds. There you go.
That is one of the best episodes of Star Trek television I've ever seen. One of the best episodes of science fiction television I've ever seen.
Beyond Classical Theater honors the legacy of Johnny Lee Davenport by giving actors of color with a specific passion for classical theater opportunities to prepare for excellence in performance.
We're at Quark's bar. And God, I'm going to get in trouble for this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Avery goes to me. He's sitting there at the bar, and he got to me and he goes, so, what happened after I left? I said, they had to rewrite. I said, we were here till like 11:30. I said, it was just, what were they going to do, Mr. B? He looks at me, he said, Mr. Slayton, if they going to treat you like a sometimes you act like a And I turned right back and went back to his thing, and we never talked about it again.
I'm here on the job site with Dale, who's a framing contractor.
Hey, good morning.
Dale traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for all his business vehicles. We're here where he needs us most.
Yep, they sure are.
We make it easy for him to save on all his insurance needs, all in one place, with coverage that fits his business and bottom line. Oh, I shouldn't have looked down.
It's all right.
We're so far up here.
Look at me. Take a deep breath.
Oh, I'm good. So good.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. Get more with Geico.
I haven't listened to anything you've said in the last 20 seconds.
Damn it, Trevor.
Oh, God, I hate you so much.
Well, it's you. We can cross off the reading.
I watch almost everything, and the majority of it is terrible.
What is this podcast about?
My recorder keeps turning off.
Damn it, Trevor. Trevor, I always say the same thing episode after episode after episode. Can I say something other than, hi, everyone. Welcome back to No Win Scenario Podcast.
Just say it as fast as possible so your voice can get out of my ears, please.
Would you like me to do it?
In a much higher voice this time?
No, not so much. Well, hi, everyone, and welcome back to a special end of season 2
You
episode.
literally make me nauseous. You literally make me nauseous.
Maybe this is like No Win Scenario Podcast After Dark or drunk theater or something. There's no alcohol here. But welcome back to this special episode. We've taken a few months off for the summer, but we are back to wrap up season 2 with a special guest coming up, Todd Slayton from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, who's got amazing stories from behind the scenes. As well, I'm not gonna ruin it, Trevor. I'm going to stop talking now because you want it this time. So as
I did, but it's been a few months. Have you finally, after just me just begging you to see it, you finally saw Furiosa, right?
I did, in the amazing view of an iPad next to my bed.
Hate you so much. What'd you think of it?
Better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. But you probably liked it more than Fury Road because you don't like Fury Road, if I remember.
I don't believe I actually saw Fury Road or any of it.
Okay,
I grew up with Mad Max. I grew up with Mad Max, and I think that was why
you make me sick.
The original I grew up with, I loved.
Sick. Okay. Did you get a chance to see Alien Romulus?
Pass.
Yeah. I saw it. I saw it twice.
I did see Deadpool and Wolverine. That was the one movie I've seen recently.
My funny thing, I had tickets to see that twice with the same friend. Both times they got sick the day before, and I was so happy. You're
so risen with anxiety.
So happy.
God forbid you should hang out with someone and see something.
So happy.
It was entertaining. Entertaining means fun, Trevor.
Right.
Oh, wait, well, I saw The Insider with you just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, well, The Insider's not fun. Movie. It's brilliant.
It's a great movie.
Michael Mann, come on. Yeah. Romulus, I was so very excited for it. Really.
Wait a second, hold on. I was busy traveling the world. I went to Iceland. I was in Brussels. I was in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue. Continue from your cat cave.
Directed by, I can't pronounce his first name, I think Fede Alvarez. Big fan of his work. He's got excellent vision, real technically proficient. I wasn't very disappointed. The film was meh. It was just a bunch of callbacks to the other films, and
this is your special opening. Just
really didn't deliver. No, I'm getting there.
He's getting
But listen, we're just going to go real quick into Trevor's tangent. Okay. So
wait, we have a sound effect somewhere. Where is it? No, that's not it.
So regarding our upcoming interview with Todd Slayton, you had me watch an episode of Deep Space Nine called Far Beyond the Stars, right?
That's correct.
Yes.
Just last night.
And I watched it last night. And I've seen a fair amount of Star Trek TV, not as much as Dawn, not as much as most Star Trek fans, but I will say that is one of the best episodes of Star Trek television I've ever seen. One of the best episodes of science fiction television I've ever seen. It was so moving, so well written, so well acted, incredibly well done. I didn't know it dramatically where it was going from one moment to the next. It zigzags dramatically, but it all makes sense, and it just builds to this moment. And for anybody who's seen it, that is so explosive. I don't know. It knocked me out. Avery Brooks, amazing. I mean, just amazing.
Yeah.
The entire cast, amazing. And is
there a butt coming here?
No, not at all. It looked gorgeous.
Yep.
It was really well made. So my question is, I have a few questions, but it was out of context for me. And I kind of wonder if I contextually understood some things, if I would get more dramatic impact out of it. The episode opens with him talking about how he's lost so many people and how he shouldn't be leading. He shouldn't be leading anymore. What did that mean?
Well, this episode, Far Beyond the Stars, came out in the 6th season, sort of in the middle, I believe.
Yeah. What was that? Was that 98? 97, 98?
Yeah. So the air date was February 9th, 1998.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, well, what's interesting is that the character of Captain Sisko, who was Commander Sisko, came in the pilot episode. The very first thing he wanted to do when he showed up was leave.
Mm-hmm.
What was interesting at the time to fans was one of the early scenes. He's with Captain Picard.
Right. Great scene.
Oh, so you have seen that? You did see the pilot?
Well, we talked about it. We talked about the pilot in one of the episodes.
Yes, we did.
And how he was like performance-wise toe to toe with Stewart and did a great job.
Yeah, and I gotta say, in a follow-up many years later, Todd Stashwick doing this very similar thing to Picard in the most recent in Picard season 3. When he was like, I was at Wolf 359, also similar, very sort of shocking to those who grew up with Next Generation and amazing moments.
Right.
But so, he came to accept his role on Deep Space Nine and find his family and his work there. And more than that, without giving away, now that we're so many 25 years later, you're going to finally watch it. But at this point in the show, a full-fledged war had taken over, had taken place between the Federation and the Dominion. And really the last couple seasons of Deep Space Nine were committed, for the most part, to this long-form story about the Dominion War, which is why I was so excited when it showed up in Picard, and you're like, what the hell is this? So it wasn't going well. And the cool thing about Deep Space Nine is, like, they lost the station at one point.
Right.
They had to retreat. They showed, a character losing a leg during the war. They showed people dying, not really main characters. This wasn't quite going that far, but it showed people dying. So at this point, it's taken a toll on him, the losses. And so he sort of loses faith in himself to lead.
The parallelism, I'm guessing, you correct me if I'm wrong, without giving too much of, is that in this episode, he is a writer, he's creating this story.
Yeah.
And the story, the one thing that is consistent throughout the story of him writing the story is that there's constant setbacks and loss over and over and over again. Is that what,
whatever progress, maybe that's a way to read it.
Right.
Maybe it's there, maybe it's not, but whatever progress he made to almost being able to be an African-American writer in the 50s trying to get published, making some progress and then being pushed back down again. There is that parallelism there between what's going on in the war. Like, every time there's progress and maybe there's a way to get over this, you're pushed back down to the ground or your friends get hurt. So there's definitely that parallel.
Oh yeah. I mean, with that moment in the episode, your friends get hurt.
Shot.
Yeah. It, I mean, it was It was unbelievable. It was a great episode.
It was a great episode. And I gotta say, like, they do return to the Benny Russell character a little bit in his hallucination, never to the extent of having a whole episode on it. And, to this day, like, when I heard that they were considering, I don't know how serious it was, ending Deep Space Nine with Benny Russell dreaming of Deep Space Nine,
right?
That would have been so poetic and perfect. I think people would have thrown fits and people would have loved it. And I regret them not doing it.
Right.
So, man, as much as Star Trek's about the future, maybe there's still more work to get done. That was some statement.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. My final, the final thing I want to ask, or it's not even a question. It's something that I'm still wrapping my brain around, was the line that Brock Peters says near the end about Sisko.
You were the dreamer in the dream?
Oh, dude.
That's the line.
That slayed me.
Slay.
That was... I'm still working through that line dramatically, but it and it hasn't even been 24 hours, but I keep hearing it.
Yeah.
I keep hearing that line. And I don't know. Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful.
A lot of
really powerful stuff.
For how many years ago it was, and how it still holds up, and for just a syndicated show, right, that had a lot of episodes in a short amount of time. Yeah, it did quite good. Absolutely.
And again, it looked incredible. It shot really, really. I mean, it looks so amazing. Yeah. It's just fantastic all around, and really just wonderful. So, I mean, gosh, this is going to be a big surprise. I'm going to be nice to you and say thank you.
Sound effects provided by Don.
I was going to call you a name, but I stopped. This is about me being nice. Thank you for booking this upcoming guest. Because in order to prep for this interview, you asked me to watch this episode. And this episode was just, it rose above its IP and it rose above its genre. It is just a great piece of writing, acting, drama. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
I agree.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'd like to thank you and applaud you. I'd actually like to applaud you. Wait, where's that? Hold on. I'd like to applaud you for recognizing that I was right.
I love when I'm sincere and you still mock me. It's just fantastic.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
My name is Todd Slayton. I am a actor, director, editor, producer. I have titles under my belt. I'm not just throwing that out. Mm-hmm. Right now, currently, I've been doing a whole lot more producing. I am doing a project out here in my hometown, and we are doing what we consider a one-of-a-kind reggae festival, but it's not just reggae. It's going to include hip-hop, but not today's hip-hop. Mm-hmm. It's going to be conscious hip-hop. We got, right now, we're going to get a couple Marleys coming. A couple bands I can't mention yet, but it's here in my hometown, and I won't give you the name of my hometown, but I'm sure it's online. But it's where we do the California Ramona pageant, and it will be there at the Ramona Bowl March this year. The name of our festival is called Iron Culture Festival, and that's exactly what it is. It's a cultural festival, but our thing is with the iron, we're going to bring in some VIP food. And it's going to be one of a kind. So anyway, you guys want to talk about Star Trek?
Well, you know what? I just have one quick question. I'm a fan of Africa Bambaataa, 70s, early 80s hip hop. Is the Treacherous Three is like, I love the Treacherous Three. Is that what you're like? The original hip hop, the 5 elements of hip hop, and is that what you're aiming for?
Yes, but we're going to more Okay, so it has to do with my journey through this whole thing. It connects to the start of Star Trek, to the people I met. So some of the people I run with is my brother Jay from the X Clan. So I'm sure you know Brother Jay. I was with him and the X Clan and Public Enemy at the 25th induction to the Hall of Fame. If you've ever seen a picture with Brother Jay and Chuck D, I took that picture.
Oh, wow.
So that's what we're concentrating on. Now, if we want to get deep about Africa and X Clan, how much do you know? Yes, the same genre, but maybe not the same people.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. Well, now you know hip hop. He's
got it. Believe it or not, I have a background in music, but it's from like the 16th century. So I was an academic.
Just real quick, in my opinion, that sounds like an amazing festival, and I hope it goes off huge. That sounds great.
When I got the job on Deep Space Nine, I came from a modeling background. I had dreads, then nothing like this. I got 3 feet. So I had that experience of, my dad's a pastor, so I have that open experience of just talking to people and being there. So it was really quick that I got into that family, and Ciroc really looked up to me at that time as a big brother and as a mentor.
Right.
Avery, Mr. B, I may switch between Avery and Mr. B, but we know him. He was always there. And Avery, if I had a toothpick, I'd show you Avery be looking at us like, what y'all planning?
Yeah.
So, anyway, I was supposed to take Ciroc to the Auto Museum, Peterson's Auto Museum, the night of the shooting with Biggie. And Avery, his mama, asked me if I'd take him. That's the only way Ciroc could go. I think he was
15 or 16.
Avery pulled me aside and said, "What are you thinking, Mr. Slayton? You ain't going there. You going home to your wife and kids. And Ciroc's gonna get in the car, huh?
Right.
Go home. You dig?"
Yeah.
There was no discussion. So we weren't there because Avery didn't want us there. But I can tell you things might have changed differently because I know how Ciroc was and I was. We were young and crazy. We would have probably been right there on the car glass.
Yeah.
Because we were both big Tupac and Biggie fans, especially Ciroc. So anyway, what do you guys want to know?
Well, I got a question. So just a little backstory is that how we came into your orbit is that all of a sudden I'm seeing on a Facebook feed you're posting a DS9, Deep Space Nine lovers or something, and I wasn't even in the group, and I saw it. I'm like, oh wow, this is interesting. You've got a sort of unique perspective, I think, a lot, and as we've been talking, you've got perspective on Avery Brooks and Brock, and so I'd love to talk to you more about that. But just with your backstory here, you were what, 25-ish when you started?
25 when I entered into the industry. I was 23, and that was during the modeling background.
So what was it like coming into Deep Space Nine right in the 4th season? Ciroc was what, 50? He was a kid, but who all of a sudden
15.
Sprouted up. I guess he was a short kid when the show started, and halfway through he became.
That's one of the reasons why. That's one of the reasons why Ivor got replaced. Ivor was his original stand-in. How you doing, brother? If you see this, and a good guy. We continued on with Ivor. He did a lot of stunts for Ciroc even after, and Ciroc sprouted. I'm 6'3". Ish. I'm 52 now, so I'm probably 6'2". But yeah, so Ciroc, last time I was around him, was about an inch taller than me, and that was about 4 years ago. We did Comic-Con and LA Comic-Con, which was really fun. Oh. So
and then you did more than that. Was one more fun than the other?
People have asked me what was my favorite character to play or my favorite, makeup, let's say, because the only characters I ever really played was Thought Gore. And I did a lot of stuff production-wise behind the scenes we can get into about Brock, and that was wonderful. But my favorite makeup, and this is going to be like realistically, everybody who's ever done makeup knows exactly what I'm saying, is the Shrek. There's this picture of me, and I'm like this on that one of those things in a full makeup head. That's my favorite because all they did is pull that over your head. They put a little glue around your eyes, a little makeup right here. Now you slip on the little gloves, get in a real comfortable baggy suit. Day's done.
Yeah.
When I would do Cardassians, Klingons were not, I think for me, the most taxing was because of my time there. I was hired on as a crew. I was just background. I know that, an extra, but I was hired on as a crew. So Ciroc wasn't working that first year or so. not as much. So they kept me on like the phones. They would have me assist Avery. That's how I became so close to Brock, was because of the various different things that I would do. But the worst was not the worst. It was the best. But if they needed a makeup guy, or like, we got one guy tomorrow, we need makeup. Prime example. There's a picture of me also, and you guys can cut too. You have my full permission. And it's like this, and it's a full makeup, and I'm in a like a gown, a red gown, and I have like 3 different pictures of the levels of makeup.
Yeah.
I'll shout out the makeup artist, wonderful woman, Mary Kay. And we spent, because it was just me that entire day. It's the scene. I don't remember all this stuff, guys. I really don't. I'm a Trekkie, but I'm not as deep as some of you.
We're not going to ask you episode title.
Yeah. I don't know the episode title, but it was when Quark and Nana were carrying like an invisible box, right? And they go walking by and they see me and they stop and they go like, "Oh, emissary," or whatever. Right. And I just kind of go like that. That took 13 and a half hours.
Oh my
that
goodness.
Makeup alone. And the only reason why is because I was supposed to go on at like 11 and it kept getting pushed because I'm cheap, me as an extra in makeup and smoke and all. They don't care. My little $600 a day doesn't mean anything.
Right.
So they kept pushing it. Well, we didn't have anything to do because it was a pretty bare set. So me and Mary Kay just kept working, and that took 13 and a half hours. But for me, it wasn't the hours necessarily in the makeup chair. It was the hours in general. Like my very first day, I'm a chameleon. I didn't know what I was doing. They said, come to the Paramount lot, be here at 2 a.m. on whatever day that was. It was a Monday. So I show up and I just see a legion of people going through the Paramount gate. I got my little pass, so I even got in before people. So I just stood around and just kind of followed the herd. Next thing you know, I'm in the makeup, and Michael, Westmore's makeup office on Deep Space Nine, which was an amazing experience with, must have been 25 other gentlemen, some women, mostly men, extras that are playing Klingons. That day, I got on set at 8 a.m. By the time Michael Dorn's episode. It was the first episode of season 4. You guys can see which one that was.
Way of the Warrior.
The Way of the Warrior. So LeVar Burton was directing, right? So I got on set at 8 in the morning, and it's called Hurry Up and Wait. So we just go stand around. I don't have everything on. I go craft service. Then they go, get dressed. We get dressed, and everybody's there. Well, I told this story, so I don't want to keep repeating, but I won't give all of it. But LeVar was wearing overalls, and LeVar's like standing around going, okay, I need you to move like this. Michael Dorn comes on. Here LeVar has a whole crew and 25 extras standing around, and Michael's not even made up. He doesn't even have his hair on. He just has basically the Klingon.
Yeah.
And then the mustache, the beard, his pants are, he's got the suspenders on, and so LeVar's pissed. Now it's like 10 a.m. So keep in mind, I had been there for 8 hours. All of us had been there for 8 hours at that point. And Michael comes in and LeVar's just raging. And I don't know, like I said, this is the first day. I'm looking at Kunta Kinte, right? And Worf arguing in front of me. My kids know reading
Right.
Rainbow, but I know Kunta.
Right.
And so I'm just like, wow. And so LeVar goes, Michael, you're not even dressed. What are you doing? These guys have been here for 8 hours. We're ready to go. Let's roll. And Michael looks at LeVar. Mind you, LeVar's standing there with his overalls. He goes, how's your mom and them, LeVar? And the whole crew just fell out. It just broke the tension. But that was my first day, and that was 21 and a half hours.
Wow.
21 and a half hours before I got signed out, the time I started. So that was tough. But I'll tell you, I was young then, and the money was excellent.
The money was
good.
And so is that why you kept coming back? Because it was a gig? It was a steady gig?
I was a new father and a married man happily, and I wanted to be in Hollywood. I wanted to be an actor. I started off modeling, but I come from a background of vaudeville. My grandmother used to sing and dance with Scatman Crothers gosh, his name's escaping me. Ball guy, tap dance. Anyway, so I grew up with the whole genre of vaudeville in my life. My mom's Creole, my dad's part Native American and African American. So I have a mix of culture that I've always embraced. But for me, it was a job, but I enjoyed it. It was
Yeah.
fun. There was drama, but that's the same way. I came from the state parks of California directly. I got discovered at the California State Parks by MTV when MTV was cool. They did a commercial on me because I was a state parks. I wasn't a ranger, but assistant, and I was running around Idlewild, California with dreadlocks. And they're like,
Yeah.
"Who's this dude?"
Who's this guy?
So that's kind of how I got into modeling and whatever. But
Gotcha.
I've always had passion through my grandma. Like she would do Pasadena. They would have a like Sundays you could go in and do like almost a showcase or whatever. And my grandma would have us all up there dancing and singing, tops, you name it. So for entertainment, it was a job, but it was great. I watched my wife work retail and she hated it. I'd go to work. I'd go to work and I'd be like, "Babe, you know what happened today?"
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Clock out." I'm like, "Okay, well, I was going to tell you I met Potsy today."
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
I was going to ask you if you had fun because I think
we had a blast.
Because the rumor, I mean not the rumor, but like the lore is that the TNG set was a blast. People were playing pranks, they were having fun.
Oh, yeah.
And at least the history that is more public is that the DS9 set was much more buttoned up.
Well,
But
I
that
think
could
that
just
has to do with the TNG stuff is because the producers, a lot of them were either there, a lot of them were assistants to those producers, and they saw that same stuff. But no, that went on our set. I could tell you stories. I can tell one time, I mean, I don't know why. It was one of those days. Our motto, again, you're going to hear it not just from me, is hurry up and wait. So Sirach had been there all day. He's in the Starfleet. I don't even have to dress because he's only there for a couple minutes, so I don't have to double him or anything. I don't have to worry about anything. And I'm just sitting there chilling. Next thing you know, Mr. B comes over. He's like, "Where's Sirach?" I said, where is he? I said, "What's going on?" He goes, "You need to go see." So I run over to his trailer. I can't find Sirach anywhere. Sirach's running around the Paramount lot as in Starfleet with toilet paper wrapped around him entirely, his head to toe, walking around going, "Oh my God." We were laughing so hard, but Avery didn't think that was so funny. You know?
Was it an episode he was directing?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't directing that one. But Avery really, he mentored Sirach. I could say he like Brock. Brock, he felt and would say in public, I was his surrogate son, and I really felt that Avery fathered and wanted to be that position and was that position because they were very close outside of work, which a lot of people don't know. But Avery is like Hawk. That's the closest I can tell you. If you want to know how Mr. B is, I know he doesn't do many interviews or anything like that. Yeah. And that's a whole nother story. But he's more like Hawk, so he's very serious, but he's hilarious. He has some of the funniest stuff. Like I got in a banter with Avery, and I got one up on him and regretted it once. And I don't know if I can tell that story or not. So
that's up to you.
Yeah, no, it had to do with old Hollywood. He told me to ask somebody a question, and everybody was standing around laughing because it was like in your face because I'm hanging out with this person, which was Brock. And he said, "You ask Brock about this, that, and the other." And everybody's like, "Oh, okay." And I said, "All right, Mr. B, I'm going to ask him, but I'm going to tell him you told me." And I closed the door. Within seconds, producers were on me. Avery was like, "You need to go see Avery in his trailer." But it was all fun and games until I got the leg up. So no, we had a lot of fun, especially like the stuff behind the scenes with Quark. I mean, Armin was hilarious. Sadig, who was crazy? I didn't even get to really hang out or talk to him the first year. I think I was intimidated. Was Colomini.
Really? Oh, yeah. He seems serious. Yeah.
He's cool. Colin's fun, But my thing was like the people I hung out with because I spent a lot more time in makeup. Of course, Rock Avery, all the main cast was like Mark Alimo. J.G. Hertzler, these cats, Jeffrey Combs.
Every character ever played.
Well, I know Jeffrey Combs.
These cats, Jeffrey's great. You can tell him I said what's up. I haven't talked to him in a while, but and I got to work with Jeffrey on CSI. When I left Deep Space, I walked right into CSI. I stood in for Gary Dourdan, which is the black guy on the show, and I became a paramedic. But we did an episode in Big Bear, and Jeffrey played a veterinarian, and Jeffrey was pretty, overwhelmed by the whole CSI train because, we were the number one
big.
show in the world.
Mm.
And Jeffrey looked at me and he's like, yeah. We ended up keeping a restaurant open because they knew who we were. And Big Bear of all places until like 11 o'clock at night, which is unheard of on a Thursday. And he's fun, but I think one of the ones I really miss that I'll get a hold of and talk to, I believe he's still alive, is Mark Alimo. Me and him used to have blast all the time. Every weekend we were hanging out if we didn't have things to do. So I don't know what else you guys want to talk about.
I got lots of questions.
Oh yeah.
So I got a couple of Avery questions first. So the first being, and you teased this in a message, I believe, but it was a Friday. He took off. He said, "See you guys."
Oh, okay. Yeah, you want to hear that? Yeah.
Co-producers, and then Monday morning something happened. So
okay. All right, I'll say this one. This one I'll say. I don't have a problem doing it. Okay, so I was on the phones that day. Now, I said something online and I got blasted for it. We considered Star Trek the Black Star Trek. We had Avery, we had LeVar directing, we had Michael Dorn, we had Sirach, we had Brock, we had myself, we had Penny. I mean, I could just name the whole list. We had all these stand-ins who were black so it was very Afrocentric crew, let's just say, without being like anti-white or pro, just Afrocentric.
Sure.
So we would sit around, us. And me being one of the younger ones, I was mentored by plenty of names I could name that you would never know on the crew who were involved with electric. Anyway, so we were outside and right by the door, you go, I think it's stage 4 is right there. Then there's my desk or the phone desk. So I could hear I had my foot in the door, everything else. And Avery just comes busting out and he goes, "Gentlemen, have a nice weekend. I'm not putting up with this." And he leaves. And I'm like, what happened? And he has an assistant. His name is Brian Andrew Tunstall. Brian's a great guy, amazing makeup artist. And Brian and Avery were really close, very close. He was the closest to Brian. So Brian goes and sneaks off and he goes to Avery's trailer and then Brian comes back. And Brian says to me, he said, "Oh, Mr. B's going home." I was like, dude, it's 1 o'clock. He can't leave yet. We got and I pull up the list. He's got like 5 more scenes. Next thing you know, Mr. B pulls up in his black convertible Mercedes. He got the hot glasses on. He got the suit jacket and everything on. He goes, "Gentlemen, have a good day." And he rolls out, right? He rolls out and Brian's up. 20 minutes later, 10 minutes, whatever it was, the door busts open again. It's Steve Oster. He's panicked. He's like, where's Avery?
Co-producer, right?
Yeah, co-producer. And he's like, "Where's Avery?" And Brian just goes, "Probably over Texas." Like that. So we are busting up. So now Brian gets to go home, right? So Avery's done. There's no need for Brian. Right. Off the clock. Well, I got to stay until we wrap. So I'm going to say it. So the next morning, I'm standing in for Avery because his stuntman, who is John Lundell Bennett, rest in peace, Johnny. He was doing stunts at the time on the other show. So that Monday, I had to stand in for Avery. So we're at Cork's Bar. And God, I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. And so Avery goes to me, and he would turn, and now he's sitting there at the bar, and he's got his toothpick, and he's like this with his sides. And yeah, look at that, just residual. But I
heard it's electronic finally.
He's sitting there with his sides reading, and I'm reading with him, and he goes, "So, what happened after I left?" I said, "They had to rewrite." I said, "We were here until like 11:30. I said, "It was just, what were they going to do, Mr. B?" He looks at me, he said, "This is the part I'm going to get in trouble for." He said, Mr. Slayton, if they're going to treat you like a sometimes you act like a And I turned right back and went back to his thing, and we never talked about it again. And it meant so much to me, and I know that's controversial as hell, because it doesn't mean a black thing. It means a human thing,
a power thing, or
a power thing. They want to push you around and push you till you break. And I saw him do it. I saw him try to do it with him, and he just got tired of it.
And do you suspect it was like a contract negotiation issue, or just like a human just treating,
changing words, talking down, just kind of like people are tired. You're not showing the proper respect to him, and he is you're whoever. Yeah. The show is him, and so he was just fed up. There was a couple times where that happened, and it was just other actors shining at that time and being bravoed, and constantly bravoed, and you being like, okay, we'll get to you in a minute. And you're the star of the show. It gets a little old, you know, type of thing. And I think that's what it was. It wasn't the N-word. It was just the attitude.
The treatment. Do you think that's what sort of led him to not want to do conventions and talk about the show and things like that? Or he's just moved on with his life and now he's retired?
I can honestly only speculate, but I remember there's a picture of me and Avery, and that night I said something and it pissed him off. And again, I'll tell you what it was, because I haven't really seen him since that night. That was the season 7 rap party, and I got the blonde hair, and he's wearing that flamboyant jacket, and we're hugging. After that, you know, we got a little tipsy, and I said, Mr. B, I said, man, I just want you to know what a pleasure it was working with you and how much I love you and this and that, but I'm sure I'll probably never see you again. And he got pissed.
Really?
What is that supposed to mean? And I felt as though then Avery was done. And I was only, you know, at that time, 30 years old. This is not my place to tell Avery. I just feel like you kind of rather do stage. You know, he teaches at Rutgers. His wife's a professor. He had a whole life. His son was going through stuff. You know, he's flying back and forth to the East Coast, and he just wasn't really, you know, a Hollywood. He's a superstar, but he's not a Hollywood player. He doesn't play the game. And I think that's why. But I would say this, I'm 100% sure you'll see him again. Yeah. I don't think he's done. I think he's going to do something earth-shaking is what I feel. And I hope I'm up for that, Mr. B, if you're watching.
Yeah, I mean, he's such an amazing actor. And I want to talk about Far Beyond the Stars in a second, but I just know as a fan since I'm a little kid, and, you know, I think DS9 I was in high school or the end of high school then.
God, I feel old.
Sorry. Trevor's older than you, don't worry.
I'm only a couple. I'm right behind you there. I'm close to you.
It's been a whole, you know, him not engaging, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that would love to hear him speak.
He was close to all of us, but he was private. He had his own life, you know.
Yeah. Which doesn't work in I'm designated commercial Hollywood. You know, they want it all out there.
Yeah.
Because
they
everybody
all your business.
Everybody makes money from it.
And think about it. You never saw Avery in the tabloids.
Right.
Not really. You never saw him on TMZ with some scandal. You never heard about any of that. He just a different breed.
Your product, and there's a lot of at the time, a lot of magazines, a lot of outlets that could, you know, that uses you they use you to sell. And if you're going to have a very private life, that's not conducive to
Hollywood, especially starring on Star Wars, being the main, you know, number one call sheet. You're out there. Right. He'll forever be out there. I really honestly feel he'll come back. He'll amaze us all with something. I honestly would love him to see like the return of Hawk or something like that, more so than Star Trek at this point, because Star Trek is so diverse and so moved on from deep space. I don't look. That's why it took me so long to get here, is I'm not a part of a CSI fan page or anything like that, because it's just a weird thing. So I don't really know if there's I don't even know what the new shows are on Star Trek. These 3-4 shows that started Star Trek were the ones that everybody looks at iconically, you know? Yeah. And I think that's what, if we were to do another Deep Space Nine reboot, maybe, but that's a huge maybe. It's a big maybe. But I'd love to see him do almost like a Hawk movie, you know, or something like that.
I'd love to, because I had Trevor watch this for the first time in his life to embarrass him last night. I'd love to hear your experience on, you know, what many, including myself, think is the best episode of Star Trek, which is Far Beyond the Stars. I'd love to hear sort of your experience there, because you have Avery, you have Brock, you have everybody, you have them in normal. So this is an episode, just for listeners who don't know, I don't know why you're on this podcast an hour, this episode is, but you know, it's basically Sisko's dealing with the effects of the Dominion War. He basically has this hallucination. It's a longer story where he's living as in the mid 20th century as a science fiction writer who's dealing with racism of the time, and all the main characters are there out of makeup pretty much for the first time. Amazing episode, I thought. But, you know, I'd love to sort of hear, you know, how were you involved with that episode?
I have about I don't know how much time you have, but I could tell you 5 amazing stories, at least. First being John Bennett again, his assistant was, or his stand-in, his assistant. We all kind of, like Srock, I was his stand-in assistant. You do more. You love people. Srock did stuff for me, but he was out. He was on, I think, Moesha or something doing stunts because we had so many great shows on the lot filming at the time, not just Voyager, And at any rate, Mr. B asked me if I would be his assistant. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, if I move, you move. He said, I need you to go somewhere, you go. I was like, yeah, heck yeah. So I go to the producers and I'm like, hey, I need an extra $20 an hour, So I did that.
Is that really how it worked?
Yeah, I did. I was ruthless. So, but that was an Avery's approval. I said, okay, yeah, I got it, but I'm gonna go make sure they know. So at any rate, I was Rock stand-in and photo double on that episode. I was also Brock stand-in and his assistant on that episode.
Oh my God.
So when it started, there's always the pre production meetings, let's say, and sometimes there are readings. So I was in on a lot of the readings with Avery and the cast, and he would go, Mr. Slayton, let me hear it. And he would go, do my part, and it was like blown away. I'm blown away that I get to do all this. So it became very, very, very stressful for all of us. No one more than Avery. So I can take you to a scene. The scene is where they fire him. Okay, they fired Benny Russell inside Renee. I hated him in that episode, and he fires him. Well, Avery was telling me all day and had been just like, man, we got to get through this. This is going to be history. This is going to be great, Mr. Slayton, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, but I knew he was stressed. And so he does the whole thing. You can, what does he say? You can pulp a man's dream, but you can't. Then he takes his cane and wipes it out. Boom, boom, boom. Well, that wasn't necessarily scripted. Everybody jumps back if you see from the table.
Shock, yeah.
Armin goes, what? And that whole deal, that was a natural reaction. And Avery hit the ground, right? Avery hit the ground and he starts sobbing. And he says, he's all, I forget what he says, but he's crying and he's crying. Well, what you guys don't know is Avery stayed on the ground 1.5 minutes sobbing to the point where I ran in. And because Lou looked at me, Lou Race was directing. He was assisting Avery, first assistant director. And Lou looked at me because Lou's like, I'm not doing it. So I looked in and I grabbed Brian and we ran and literally laid over the top of Avery and held him. And I'll name drop all day. Mike Vehar Jr. comes over to me and goes, tell Mr. B we rolled out. And I said, I'm not telling him. I was like, no. And meanwhile, I said, Mr. B, we got to go again. And Avery looks and he's like, all right. He what's up, Mr. Vehar? And he goes, Avery, we rolled out. We got to go again. Avery said, okay, let's go again. Jumped up, reset.
That quick.
We did it again. Same thing. This time he's only down for 1.5 minutes, but now the emotion was so high. Every single woman, man reaction, especially Terry and Nana, crying was emotion. That wasn't acting. That was real. We were all, the whole crew. If you could have took it now, I film everything. I don't know. I don't do much on sets anymore. I'm behind the scenes, but I would have filmed everything. But those reactions were real. And that made me, as a young actor, go, damn.
Yeah.
Can you do this? Can you do it? Because it wasn't the emotion that he showed, it was his recovery. And I was like, that's some deep, heavy, almost dark stuff. Yeah. And just a whole nother level. So from there, a happy story is my mom was turning 50 when we filmed that episode. I told Avery, he invited her as his guest. So she was on New York Street, and there's a picture of her there, and she was just overwhelmed because she's a big Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, Avery Brooks, Spencer for Hire, all that fan. And here she's with Avery, and he's treating her like his best friend. And so next thing we know, we have lunch, and there's I think there was 200 extras on Harlem, the Harlem Street on the Paramount lot. Well, it's New York Street, but we dressed it so it was more Harlem 1950s. Well, they have a stage there because they will do presentations. So we had 200 extras there. And we're all eating, and my mom, myself, Brock, and like JG and a couple of us, and definitely Ciroc, we're all eating. Didn't even see Avery. You know, he had stuff to do. So he's going, all of a sudden, you hear, hello, hello. Yes, we have a special guest. It's her 50th birthday, Miss Slayton. And he calls my mom up in front of 200 extras in the crew and has them sing happy birthday to him. In the middle of all this stress that's going on, all the craziness that he experienced. Now he's singing happy birthday to my mother. Come on, man. That was so huge. So I'll just go through one more. So there's a scene. So Brock and I became like very close. Brock is my son's godfather. He's my surrogate father. I got to experience so much stuff that's a whole nother podcast with just, I was at Gregory Peck's funeral with
Brock.
My
God.
The second row. I went down in the elevator in the mausoleum that you guys probably don't know exists with Lionel Richie, his wife, Sidney Poitier, not Sidney, Harry Belafonte, Sherry, the other two, his wife and his other daughter. It was only a few of us. Cardinal Bishop Mahoney. So I had experience with Brock. Drove Herbie Hancock's Testarossa because we were up underneath the Pantages Theater in Hollywood when they said, "Who has a blue Testarossa out back? You need to move it." I was like, "I got it, Herbie." You know. So anyway, on that episode, what a lot of people don't know is, I guess I could back up, but I don't know how much time we have. When Brock wasn't there my first year much. But I knew who Brock was from watching the show. Of course, when I went to school, To Kill a Mockingbird was both required. And
right.
And we had to watch it. Right. And you had to write a report about it.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am, you know, one day Avery says, "Mr. Slayton, my brother had a tragic accident at 15 and is in a wheelchair when he was 10 and I was 7. Mm-hmm. And I used to have to take care of my brother, do everything, feed him, change him, do whatever." So Avery knew that. Well, Brock had, and what you guys may not know, is he had a cadaver bone put in the front of his neck into his spine because of cancer. Well, that's why he wasn't there. So when he came back, he was a bit frail. So Avery was like, "Mr. Slayton, when Brock Peters gets here, same thing. He moves left, you move left." This is before Avery and I had that relationship really where I was helping him on. This is pre, Lost in the Stars or Far Beyond the Stars. Yeah. And he's like, "Mr. Peters." So Brock walks in. Brock is like, again, a movie star. And he's got on his Dolce & Gabbana gold rim glasses. He's got his before it was popular, his Italian man stash. He just looks like a superstar. And so he walks in, "Mr. Peters, how you doing? It's that Mr. Slayton. This is Mr. Peters." I'm like, "How you doing?" "He's going to be here to help you. He's going to be, if you move, he moves. It's left, right." And Avery looks at Brock and he looks at me and he looks back at Brock and he grabs that man stash off of Brock and he slaps it over my shoulder. So I know I'm wearing Brock's man stash and he's like, "You dig? You know what I'm saying? How much Brock is not going to pick up a script if you have to feed him." You know what I mean? So Brock will tell you that's the day we fell in love because we just stayed. And from there, so cut to Lost in the Stars or Far Beyond the Stars. And of course, we know that was what it was about. I mean, the takeoff of Lost in the Stars. But at any rate, there was a scene in the movie, it was like a movie to me. And I agree.
I agree. It was like a movie.
Literally go in my bedroom right now and come right out in 5 seconds with that script.
I don't know if you can see this, but this photo right above me is Avery looking out
the window. Like looking back at himself.
Or Jenny Johnson.
Yeah. Oh, Penny's great too. So anyway, there's a scene with Penny. And Avery, as he's rejoicing, he's happy, he's walking down the way, he's singing and everything else. And then Brock comes out of the shadows and he says, whatever, I forget. He says so much just amazing stuff. He says, but something, Benny, like that. And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I believe that's when Brock reaches up to his ear and pulls the blood off and whatever have you. And then he leans back in the shadow. Then shortly after that, the Jake Sisko character is shot and killed in the street. If I'm correct, that's the timeline. Well, the thing that people don't know is that Brock couldn't do that without physically. He couldn't, and it's Hollywood. So we had this set that had light cutting this way. Well, Avey wanted Brock to be in the back of the light, just off the camera. And for Brock to do that, his spine, his back, he was having spasms. And he was like, "How can we do this?" And Avery's like, "We're going to have to relight. We had 200 extras there." And I said, "Wait," I said, "Avery." And I went over and we talked, and then I went over to the AD who was there, and she gives me a walkie-talkie. So this is what happened in that scene. So when you see them walking by and Brock comes and he steps out like that
into the light, yeah.
I'm on my hands and knees with my back or my head up against the wall, and Brock is he's sitting on my rump, right? And I'm looking at a walkie-talkie that will flash twice when I need to start backing Brock out.
Oh,
And so I do that, and we did it twice. And it was, to me, it was not a big deal. It was like, we got to get the shot. We can't relight this. We just got to do it. And so that was on that day, that was the last take for Brock. And so when Brock, when we cut, Avery, cut, that's great, cut. And so he goes, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brock Peters. And everybody's clapping. Again, we got all these extras, crew and everything. That's a wrap on Brock Peters. And then I stand up with the walkie and I'm like, whoo. And I come walking out into the light, and everybody had saw me do it. And I didn't think anything of it. And he goes, and ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Todd Slayton. And the whole place just erupted for me. Yeah. And I was like, hey, this is cool, and it wasn't like I was looking for accolades. It was just like, I just knew what we had to do. Yeah. And that episode was really important again. And that again reflects to me why I call Deep Space the Black Hollywood. When have you ever seen, the Black Deep Space, when have you ever seen TNG or anybody go back into, Cleveland,
right.
50
right.
to work at the coal mine or whatever? This was very deliberate. Ira was, to me, Ira will be at my festival. He's that kind of dude. That's
right. I think he's awesome.
And he knew the pulse of what the culture, we'll say again, was looking for. And I think him and a lot of the writers, including Rick Berman, just gave us the green light. And that's why it wasn't so much fun on set, because we had so much to prove. But we had fun. We had fun, and we just don't have a whole lot of bloopers. You know what I mean? Of that on set.
Yeah.
Don, do you mind if I ask just two quick questions?
No,
they're usually pretty bad questions.
I'm here
for you. Todd, excuse me. I have technical questions. I get into the technical weeds of it. I watched the episode last night for my first time. I was blown away by the production values and how well it was lit.
Yeah,
really, really well lit.
Jonathan West
looked gorgeous. And I'm not saying other episodes of Deep Space Nine didn't have great production values, but was there more? Did the producers give this specific episode more time, more resources, more money or was it just as tight as any other episode?
Well, that's a two-part question. Yeah, we had more money because we had all these extras. We had to rent, New York Street. So yeah, I guess in that respect, they did open it up, because when you're outside versus inside, when you rent out New York Street, they have it looks like it's the deli. Well, no, that's electrical. So they just pull out the lights and do whatever, but everything takes time. So I'd say yes. And I know that for a fact, our DP was Jonathan West, and
he did an amazing job.
He loved Avery, and he wanted to make this the best episode. And I think between Avery and Jonathan working together and Jonathan's crew, that's what you saw. That was complete passion and love for just the lighting. Never mind the camera and everything else that Jonathan was responsible for.
Right. There was even like complicated dolly shots that I saw. And I was like, wow, that was a complicated shot I could see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We had cranes. We had all kinds. And Avery was funny. There's scenes like when you see like the extras up on the side and the guy walking down the street. Every single thing you saw, Avery, it was planned. And Avery I was assisting. He's like, Bill, you see that brother over there? Tell him to put that panel up.
Yeah.
See that Muslim over there? Tell him to have that thing. And so his energy just pulled all the way through. So everybody was willing to give their best performance, because it was, to me, I think it was the best episode we've had. And it wasn't just Avery. It was a willingness of the crew, the cast, to say, hey, let's make something great.
When the stunt person for Mr. B takes that hit from the car in the beginning,
that's John.
That hit looked so hard. So I actually kind of yelped when I saw it. Were you there on set and saw that? I mean, that really looked hard. Like that was a hit.
That was a hit. And John took it like a boss.
Yeah.
He did two, 3 takes of it. That one that they used was the heaviest hit.
Yeah.
But I watched John Bennett get snatched back off a ratchet and knocked out cold one time, doubling Avery. It was the emissary, and I think it was a limo, and he does, and Avery goes flying back and hits the wall and comes back up and all that stuff. John Bennett got knocked out on that one. And now, I mean, that's what people don't understand. The simplest stunts are just so extreme sometimes. Like I did the stunt with Aaron in Paper Moon, and Aaron clocked me. I hit the ground. I mean, I came up, and once you see me turn, and Srock turns, that was me going to go over and slap Aaron because he socked me.
Yeah.
He thought it was funny, though. And so we just moved on. And that's another person I miss greatly. I had a very wonderful time with him and his family. We both were young fathers at the time. Was Aaron, his wife at the time, and his 2 boys. When we attended his funeral, I attended with his stand-in and Armin's stand-in, same guy, which is Dave Levinson, and his boys just came up and gave me the biggest amount of love. And I was shocked because I forget, it was either at the Henry Ford or the Pantages, and the theater was packed.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain the experiences with. The crew was amazing. Terry Farrell, she would have me pull me aside, read with her, she'd come over to the phones and she'd go, let's read. And, I also pissed her off. I won't tell that story. Then
That's part 2, everyone.
She had a great stand-in. Kathy DeBona went with her to Becker, left to go over to Becker with her. We missed each other a lot, but we're still close. She's now a psychologist doing great. And I mean, there's just so many wonderful.
Well, that's so great to hear because, a lot of our podcast the past couple of years has been talking to people in the industry about what they do, but also about like the challenges of like the unique challenges and how we lead lives, in the industry. And I think there's this perception out there, especially people not in the industry or people in the industry, that crew work, stand-in work, production work, assistant work is tough and thankless because you're not known like the stars are known. Doesn't sound like that was your experience.
Well, not for me, but I can tell you I don't think that's the case because a lot of the people who started off as so-and-so's assistant or the new PA in the office are now producers. They're now working in the new CSI. They're now on the new, whatever it is, Hawaii 5-0. So for me, I did it a little quicker because of my personality and just the hand of God, I guess. But you got to put in your dues. And I think we all knew that. And I don't care if you're just a office PA, the craft service, you could be craft service on Deep Space Nine and then get a job on the Fast and Furious and change your life. It's all the same crew. We all run in the same little circle of people. When you work on one crew, you're going to know people if you go to another crew for sure.
Yeah.
Same thing that happened with CSI. Mike Vahar came over to CSI, not the first season though, which was funny. So, but yeah, we had another great episode real quick, and I'll Trouble with Tribbles was fun.
Oh, getting to recreate.
Yeah,
so Trevor, I'll fill you in on this one.
Yes, please do.
That was fun.
The Deep Space Nine crew went back in time to the original Star Trek episode, Trouble with Tribbles, and they got to recreate the old sets and the tribbles and all that. Yeah, why was that so much fun? Just
being a part, because I watched it. I saw the original. And then to see our stuntmen that were the new Klingons playing the old Klingons with the new Klingons to make it work was great. And then the best part was when they filled the set with tribbles. That was awesome. And I'll tell you a tribble story. I made a lot of money off them tribbles.
Oh.
Yeah.
I just leave with a bag of tribbles. And
there were thousands of them. And it wasn't stealing. They were like, take them, get them out of here. What are we going to do? They're trash. We're just going to throw them in the trash. So when Deep Space ended, I sold a bunch on eBay, and then I just sold one honestly last year, and the guy made me send the
certification. Yeah.
I said, well, I don't have time to get that for you. I'm the certificate of all. So I did $780.
Wow.
Wow.
One Tribble. The other one I did real quick was that last episode was 2 hour long episode. So it was a 120-page episode, and it was black. The cover was black. So what I did was I went and bought a gold. You remember the highlighter Sharpies that would come out when we were younger?
Oh, yeah.
So I had all the good cast members, good guys, including, More Talk and all them sign it. I said, don't put too Todd, just sign it. They signed the covers, they signed inside, outside, everybody. I had Rick Berman, I had Michael Pillar, of course, Ira. I had every single person. I didn't care who you were, Morn, you name it, on that script. We sold that.
Oh, God.
$3,500.
Yeah.
Supposedly, it's on a wall somewhere at a restaurant in Colorado.
No kidding. Really?
But the cool part is it's my name's at the bottom printed. You know what I mean? It's my script.
So
it's my script. So
Todd, I can tell you right now, if you have any more of those tribbles, Don will buy 10. He'll buy 10 and he'll pay.
I have some stuff. I may have like a watch. I know I have a baseball from the Hollow Suites episode, but I have a few scripts. But like the one I'll never get rid of is this one we're talking about.
Yeah.
Ours. But yeah, I have a few scripts and stuff, but I kept the good stuff. Like I get weird stuff like this. Let's see. Here's my portfolio. Let me see if I can find this. But I get fan stuff, and I was very, like standoffish about sending signatures and stuff back because it says this is where I live, So I don't know if you guys can see this, but
so he's holding up. Oh, profile on Thought. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've never seen it, but I get this kind of stuff sent to me, and I keep it. You know what I mean? I'll keep this forever.
Yeah.
It means a lot to me, but I don't think people would be interested in, stuff like that. I don't even know where it came from, but obviously it was printed in some magazines.
Right.
What got you to posting in that group?
I just came across it. It just came
It just showed up. And
and I was like, let me check it out. And then somebody said something, and I was like, nah, that's not true.
Fact checking the internet, that's dangerous.
Yeah. And I'm like, these people don't know who I am. I'm like, I worked with the Louise Fletcher. That's a whole nother funny story.
Oh, my God.
I can tell you the Louise story. Okay, this is a great Louise story, and we could wrap it if you want.
Yeah, please.
What did she play? The emissary?
She played the Kai. It ended up being the villain at the end of the show. Yeah.
So
Kai Wynn. Thank you. So it took me a second.
Kai Wynn. Yeah.
Thanks,
So
Trevor.
I was no help either. So I look at the call sheet and I'm like, Louise Fletcher. Of course, I know One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah. Incredible performance. Incredible.
Give me a break. And so I'm all excited, and I'm like, I'm like, hey, Ralph, you see Louise is on the call sheet? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rocks, Louise. Yeah, we know. Hey, nobody cared. So I'm like, hey, man, I'm going to go talk to Louise. The day she gets here, Louise sitting in her chair, she's just chilling. She has her sides there. This is hilarious. And God rest her soul, Louise.
Yeah.
She's like, And I walk over. I said, hi, Miss Fletcher. I said, I'm Todd Slayton. I said, I'm a big fan. I stand in for Ciroc. I'm a young actor. It's just a pleasure to work with you. And I'm holding like a triple mocha Kappa Frappuccino from craft service. And she goes, oh, nice to meet you. What is that you're drinking? I'm like, oh, it's craft service has, we got the coffee guy here. He said that. Oh, can I get a double cap with 2 squirts and a little bit of cream on top? I'm like, yeah. Get out the way. Louise Fletcher needs a coffee. And everybody's like, oh, move. Louise needs coffee. Todd, so I get Louise Fletcher coffee. I ran back. Oh, here you go, Louise. She's like, thank you, Mr. Slayton. No, thank you. What's your name again? So like day or two later, I'm standing there. And now, I know Louise. So I'm standing there. I'm eating popcorn or whatever. She walks by. She goes, oh, they got popcorn over there? I was like, yeah, craft service. Can you give me a bag? I was like, oh, okay, yeah, Louise would be running your ass around if you So then I knew I was smart enough. It only happened twice. I was smart enough to go, that's why everybody was laughing at me, because they knew Louise was going to take advantage of it. And she did. She was funny.
That's great.
She never showed up to the parties or anything, but she would, lunchtime, she would come hang out, especially her and Brock, watching her and Brock talk and tell stories was just fascinating.
Superstars, I'm sure. Yeah. She seems so intimidating, and that in a performance, she was always.
Oh, she is. Yeah. She is. She's like Kathy Bates. I got to work with Kathy Bates, and everybody was scared of her because of Misery. That was a whole other thing. So I ended up sitting and talked to her on some Roll Gold pretzel commercial I did with her and Jason Alexander back in the day because everybody was afraid of her. I was like, yeah, I'll play with you. I can beat you up, so I know you can. So, other than that, anytime you guys want to talk, I'm available. I have tons and tons and tons of more.
That would be great. Let me just say real quick, I'm the snob of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into the art films and the art sci-fi and stuff like that. Yes, I love Star Trek, but I have my areas
You're a bigger
of it.
CSI fan, I know.
That I watched that episode for the first time last night. It was an unbelievably moving experience, and it was one of the greatest episodes of Star Trek I've ever seen.
I think
hands
so.
down. I mean, I'm talking across all.
I agree. Absolutely.
It was so ambitious. It was so, I'm going to say it was so thematically ambitious, dramatically ambitious. There was so much going on in the small amount of time that was given, and it all felt balanced.
Hey, man, we even used the N-word on a
yes.
episode.
Yes.
That was me. I got that put in there. Sirach was in makeup. He was coming to set. I was with Avery, like I said. We were doing the lines, and Ira was there. And Avery and me were like that, and I just said it. I said it, and he looked at me, and he said, "What'd you say?" And I did it again. I said, "Avery, it works. It's 1950. This isn't, what do you call it? This isn't da-da-da-da, the future. This is what we're doing 1950. This is the way we spoke." He looked at Ira, and Ira looked at me, and he said, "You sure?" And we said, "Yeah." And then Sirach had no problem with it. He had no problem saying it. So, but yeah, it was just historical in a way. I don't know how you describe it. I was very honored to be a part of that.
Yep.
Amazing.
Power up fall projects with Ego at Lowe's. Every tool delivers power beyond belief. So whether it's leaves, limbs, or lawn cleanup, count on Ego to deliver the power, performance, and innovation you need. And now for a limited time, save up to $60 on select blowers, chainsaws, and pole saws. Shop Ego today at Lowe's. Offers valid through 10/1 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
All right, welcome back. Todd Slayton, amazing. That was beyond awesome to hear about Deep Space Nine after all these years. Trevor,
that was unbelievable.
So
that was unbelievable.
I guess this
so good.
We're gonna have to have a second podcast where Trevor watches every single episode. Of Deep Space Nine.
You know,
from our new No Win Scenario studio. One of these days. Maybe. Babylon 5 first, Deep Space Nine next. Is that what
no, Deep Space, no.
Well, there's a lot of contention between those two. Like,
good, they can have it. Deep Space Nine.
Babylon 5 shtick first.
Yeah, whatever.
Very different shows. I love them both. You can love both your children, Trevor.
Yes, you can.
Or both your cats.
Yes, you can.
How about we just have you watch 4 Deep Space Nine episodes now?
Oh God, I'll want the pick 8.
Pick 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pick 8.
How about our viewers? Our viewers. What viewers? We're not video yet. Our listeners pick.
No. Say viewers. Say viewers. Yeah. Don. Yeah.
No Win Scenario podcast.
Yeah. No, you're doing great. You're doing great.
Trevor.
Yep. Viewers
picks from Deep Space Nine. But I think the Tribbles episode is a must.
Absolutely.
That's a must.
And you better buy a Tribble from him. I'm saying.
Take my money. The Visitor. I got the Deep Space Nine.
I think I know that episode.
So that's
I've never seen it, but I know of it.
Sisko dies and
yeah.
That's a great episode.
Yeah. Give me send a list. I'll watch them. I got Paramount. Let's do it.
The last 4 seasons.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what? It's 7 seasons, right?
7 seasons.
Yeah.
I did Star Trek when it was, long 100 episodes in a show.
Oh yeah, the 23 23, 24 episodes. And you know what, this is I was going to ask him this, but I'll ask you. For those people that are young, you're probably not going to know what we're talking about.
Younger
but
than Trevor is 75.
Yeah, exactly. Sweeps was something that happened about midway through a season. And was the episode that we're talking, usually they go big with an episode before Sweeps. Was that a Sweeps episode? Do we know?
I think the Tribbles one was, but
no.
The Far Beyond the Stars.
Yeah.
Well, Trevor, guess what?
What?
Most people do research before they do.
No, I just rely on you when it comes to start. You listen. This is absolutely true. Dawn gets texts from me at like 2 a.m. Star Trek questions. I don't look it up. I ask Dawn. Let's just move on. Let's just cut that out.
Can we?
Yes.
We're gonna cut that out. No, we're gonna keep that. We're gonna keep that.
Yeah. We have talked about the actor Johnny Lee Davenport on this podcast before. I've met Johnny Lee Davenport through Dawn. The late Johnny Lee Davenport was a powerful, commanding actor and a really amazing person. I'll never forget him, even in the short amount of time I got to work with him. It was a really just emotional experience. I was so shocked to find out he was he was one of the team members of Tommy Lee Jones's group in The Fugitive. I remembered him right away. I was like, oh my God, that performance is great. And I got a phone call from a friend a few weeks ago. My friend Claudia, and we've known each other for nearly 30 years. And Claudia, I had just told her about the podcast, and her partner started listening to it. And she heard the episode where we talked about Johnny Lee Davenport. And the way she tells it is that she immediately burst into hysterical crying. And I mean hysterical in a, she really burst into tears. And as she was telling me this, she was very moved. In 1995, she went to go see this stage production of Othello out in the Berkshires. And she said that the actor who played Othello, somebody that she'd never heard of, the performance was so amazing that she was weeping by the end, as were a lot of people. And she looked up his name, and his name was Johnny Lee Davenport. And she said, not only did I never forget that name, she said, I never watched another version of Othello again. I never will. She goes, nothing, I don't want anything to touch that performance. She goes, I even went back to the Berkshires solely to see it again. She's like, it's one of the greatest performances I've ever seen in my life. One of the greatest Shakespearean performances I've ever seen. And then all of a sudden, my friend of 30 years on a podcast he just told me about is discussing working with this individual and having a really just emotional experience working with him. It's so funny. You spent more time with Johnny. I didn't have much time with him. I know I just said it a few minutes ago. I'll never forget him. And clearly he touched other people. And it was just so funny, this coincidence that just came 30 years later from where our friendship started. And so I want to thank you, Dawn, for introducing me to Johnny Lee Davenport. It was an amazing experience. He was so gifted, and I'm glad you had a chance to direct him. That must have been amazing.
Thanks for sharing that, Trevor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing to work with him. I learned a lot from him. I mean, it was 10 years ago already. I think when we first started working with him. Yeah.
You've mentioned it before. He was friends with Avery Brooks from DS9, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they were friends. I did during the second Ascendance part of the film series we did, was looking for sort of a known sci-fi actor to come on in. And I had this sort of dream of like, Avery, I was just telling him, I love Avery Brooks. He was the Captain of Deep Space Nine. I'd love to put him in front of a piano because he loved to, at least as Captain of Deep Space Nine, do jazz. And like, I have him for this role at the end. It'd be such a cool reveal. And I'd just let him play on the piano and just do what he loves. And it would work so well. And he's like, let me see if I can give him a call and see if I could reach him or something. But obviously he's retired. He's not going to do that. But like just the thought that Johnny Lee believed enough in this little series that we were doing and understood the bigger story and treated it as much as, as seriously as he, at least he seemed to treat it as seriously as he would in Othello role or any other. Everyone knew him in the theater scene here in Boston.
Yeah. Yep.
He was amazing. I loved how he intimidated other actors because they had to bring their A game because he worked hard and
absolutely unbelievable. And for those listening, if you want to see him, his part in The Fugitive, I mean, it's a little part, but he's in it. He's in there. And then the film Joy,
he's the lawyer in Joy.
Yeah, with Jennifer Lawrence. He is in a scene with Robert De Niro. Toe to toe, makes it look easy. I mean, just makes it look so simple.
He was in Ted. He showed up in Ted.
Oh, he was in Ted.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I'm looking at his thing, and it's just like such an honor to have him show up in the like on his Wikipedia page, like U.S. Marshals, The Fugitive, Ted, Joy, and then he has a sentence there. So like that's so nice. One of the great ways to sort of support Johnny Lee's memory is to contribute to Beyond Classical Theater, which you can go to at beyondclassicaltheater.org. Beyond Classical Theater honors the legacy of Johnny Lee Davenport by giving actors of color with a specific passion for classical theater opportunities to prepare for excellence in performance. I try to donate every year. If you go to beyondclassicaltheater.org, you'll see Johnny Lee right there. It's a great cause. And,
do you say the URL one more time?
Sure, it's beyondclassicaltheater.org.
.org. Okay.
And theater the proper way, R-E.
Yep.
So
R-E.
Beyond Classical, THEATRE. .org. So Trevor, I will get you a computer so you can go check it out.
Thank you. That would be great. That would be fantastic.
And then maybe you can get better camera, better lights. But as we sort of wrap up this special episode, I'm going to stick on the end of season 2 here after a little hiatus.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing you in our new No Win Scenario podcast studio in person.
I'm absolutely not looking forward to it, but what I am going to do is I'm going to sneak in some food to feed your employees because I know you keep them locked up in there 24 hours a day and don't feed them. They are still
working.
Yeah.
I know. Like when I go into my office and do
and have fun. Yeah. No, I'm sure it pisses them off.
This is fun. This is fun. This is actually already work looking at you. And on that note, Don, see you next season.
See you next season. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
In today's world, mental health is everyone's concern. If you or someone you know is in crisis, please use these resources. For U.S. listeners, call 1-800-950-6264 or text Helpline, all one word, HELPLINE, to 62640. Or email helpline@nami.org. That's NAMI.org. For our international listeners, please visit suicidestop.com. That's SUICIDESTOP.com.